The shocking truth behind Israel and Judah's brutal conflict. Did God want this? Find out now. The ground trembled beneath their feet, as ancient prophecies whispered through the dust of 1,000 years. A powerful storm raged in the skies above, scattering the crows that circled ominously, their cries echoing like warnings from a long-lost time. Shadows loomed large over the battlefield, where warriors, with fire in their eyes, clashed swords, and ancient grudges came to life. This was not just an ordinary skirmish, this was history ripping apart at the seams, every battle cry hanging in the air like a spell of doom, begging the question: was there a divine hand guiding the chaos? Legends of divine wrath had woven themselves into the very fabric of Israel and Judah's conflict. Some said that God himself had orchestrated this brutal clash, a deadly game of chess played on a board of blood and betrayal. The air was thick with heavy anticipation, warriors prayed for favor, casting glances toward the heavens as if expecting a sign. Eyes burned with desperation, a mix of faith and fear as the fate of nations hung precariously by a thread. They believed that each strike, each fallen comrade, was an echo of sacred will, leaving a chilling taste of uncertainty in their mouths, and there, in the thick of it all, lay the forgotten ruins, deteriorating stones etched with the names of fallen kings, echoing the tales of betrayal from ages past. A lone figure, cloaked in mystery, wandered among the shards of history, brushing his fingers against the crumbling surfaces, as if the stones could surrender their secrets. Who was he? The descendant of a king? A prophet lost in time? The watchers murmured amongst themselves, the air crackling with tension, wondering what truth lay hidden within his silence. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Just as the figure turned, grasping something hidden within the folds of his robe, a deafening silence fell, a moment thick with suspense. Was it a relic? A weapon of the past? The whispers stopped short, all eyes locked on him, hearts racing with the thrill of the unexpected. In a world fueled by chaos, could a single object unlock the answers to long-buried questions? The tension was so palpable it seemed to echo off the ancient walls around them, teasing the very edges of their understanding. In that heartbeat between war and revelation, doubt swirled like the approaching storm. Were their beliefs misguided? Was the suffering in vain? The winds howled ominous, electric, and in that breathless instant, the answer seemed just beyond reach, waiting to change everything they thought they knew. The air shifted as the figure slowly unveiled the object hidden beneath his cloak. A glimmer caught the light, sending a shiver through those watching. A broken sword, its edge dulled by time, yet radiating a sense of untold power. Gasps erupted like cannon fire. A relic of a forgotten battle? The spirit of a fallen hero woven into the fabric of this ancient weapon? With trembling hands, he lifted the sword, its presence commanding the attention of fighters and onlookers alike. The old markings, nearly erased yet resonating with a familiar energy, seemed to tell a story of love and loss, treachery and revenge. Could this very sword reveal the secrets of their ancestors, the ones who had forged both the glory and calamity that had brought them to this point? The warriors exchanged anxious glances, the ferocity of battle dimming momentarily in the shadow of revelation. A stalemate had settled, unexpected yet heavy with meaning. The figure's voice, low and gravelly, cut through the tension like a knife through flesh. This blade belonged to a king who once united our people, a king brought low by the very blood they spilled for power. Just then, a piercing cry echoed across the winds. A young warrior, eyes wide, stumbled from the fringes of the battlefield. He was covered in mud and crimson, a soldier caught in the grip of fear and confusion. He drew closer, breathless, each heartbeat pounding against his chest like the drums of war. Stop! You don't understand. The storm, it's not just a storm. There's a power awakening. His word sent a ripple of dread through everyone assembled. Was it a warning too late to heed? The sky roared in response, dark clouds swirling ominously above. Lightning split the heavens, illuminating the sacred ground where the ruins lay, revealing more than just stones and dust, it unveiled the despair of centuries. The cloaked figure took a hesitant step forward, his eyes locked onto the young warrior. "Speak, child. What do you mean? What is coming?" The tension mounted, hearts racing, sweat dripping as the ominous clouds rumbled sinisterly overhead. The warrior's voice trembled as he spoke. "I heard them, the whispers of those buried beneath. They're angry. They want vengeance. They want their stories told. If we don't address the sins of the past." A violent crack of thunder shook the ground, silencing him momentarily. "What do they demand?" Someone shouted, desperation clawing at their throat. "They want blood. They want us to confront the truth about our kings and their deception. The cycle will never end until we bear witness." His voice rose, laced with urgency and despair. The warriors clustered closer, uncertainty rippling through them. Would they really confront the darkness that loomed over their past? Could they stand against the chaos without falling prey to the same temptations? They had fought for the right to their future, but at what cost? As the winds whipped around them, the figure raised the sword high, a symbol of their possible salvation but also a reminder of their failures. "Then we will not be silent. We will unearth the stories of the past. We will make right what was wrong. Stand with me, or fall divided." Just then, the ground shuddered violently as if awakening from a long slumber. As the shadows twisted and contorted around them, something deep beneath the earth groaned, and an unearthly wail filled the air, sending chills down their spines. All eyes widened in horror. What lay buried below? What forces had they awakened? The storm raged above them, a menacing chorus to the chaos below, and in that moment, as fear intertwined with determination, a flicker of hope emerged. The real war was only just beginning. Would they embrace the truth or let it consume them? The ground rumbled again, more violently this time, throwing warriors off balance. Some stumbled to the earth, their hands pressed against the shaking soil, while others grasped their weapons, eyes darting, clutching frantically at the looming shadows rising from the depths. As the wail echoed, raw and haunting, it felt as if the very fabric of their reality was tearing apart. "Run!" someone screamed, the cry breaking through the thick tension, a command fated to ignite pure pandemonium. The warriors hesitated, torn between flight and fight, but the instinct to survive surged through them like wildfire. The hooded figure, sword raised, stood resolute amidst the chaos. "Stay. We need to face this head-on." His voice, though commanding, trembled with an undercurrent of fear. The storm crackled angrily in response, swirling around them like a beast ready to strike. The young warrior, still clutching his side, rushed forward. "No. You don't understand. It's not a matter of will. It's about the rage that stirs below. The nameless souls, they want recognition. They want." He was cut off as a massive fissure opened in the ground, narrow at first but widening with each rumble, smoke billowing forth. Faces turned pale, and breathing quickened. From the chasm, dark tendrils began to rise, a thick mist infused with whispers. They spoke in tongues, their words unable to be deciphered but laced with sorrow and fury, drowning out the voices of the living. The warriors looked to one another, their hearts beating in sync with the warnings of the earth. Suddenly, a hand reached out from the darkness. It was no mere hallucination, the fingers grasped and clawed, desperately seeking the surface. "Help us!" The voice cried, deep and haunting. "Release us!" Fear clawed at their throats. Some of the younger fighters began to back away, eyes wide with dread. The old tales whispered of souls cursed for eternity, trapped under cursed lands. But could they really be real? The man with the sword stepped forward, unyielding, mustering all his courage. "We can't run from the past anymore. We must confront them. Speak to the spirits, invoke their truths. His words hung heavy in the air like a tangible weight pressing down on them. "Invoke their truths," said another voice, trembling with disbelief. "How? They just want blood. They want justice," the cloaked figure answered, his determination emboldened. "Acknowledge their pain and we may find salvation." As the tendrils grew bolder, snaking across the battlefield in search of flesh, the young warrior shouted again, "We gather the stories. We pass them down." With a wave of his hand, the elder warrior beckoned the others closer, eyes fierce as they held on to one another, creating an unshakable bond in the face of fear. "It's now or never. Stand together." The ground shuddered again, more violently than before, and the light of the storm illuminated the shadows, revealing shapes trapped in the darkness, figures caught in eternal screams. In that moment of chaos, a realization struck hard like a crashing wave. They were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for those who had entrusted their legacies to them and for those voices that demanded to be heard. As courage sparked like electric fire among them, they began to chant, invoking the names of lost ones, the kings and warriors of old whose desires remained unchecked. The air thickened, a palpable atmosphere of power and defiance building around them, but deep within the chasm, the shadows recoiled in fury, the shrieks intensifying as if to drown out their words. Would they be consumed by the specters they aimed to confront? Or would the truth bring them together in defiance of the past? Just as hope surged, a figure slipped from the depths of the gloom, a shadow among shadows. What would it demand of them? The echoes of old decisions resonated, filling the air with an impending doom. They braced for the answer, the truth lurking just beyond reach, tangled in the storm's malevolence. What would be revealed when the darkness emerged? The figure that emerged from the darkness was unlike anything they had seen. Tall, with hollow eyes that mirrored the abyss, it moved with a fluidity that defied reason. An aura of despair clouded the battlefield, and the air crackled with an unsettling energy. The storm intensified, lightning slicing through the sky, illuminating the ghastly form for fleeting moments. "Why do you summon us?" Its voice echoed, a dissonant mix of agony and command. "What do you seek? Redemption or destruction?" The warriors gripped their weapons tighter, hearts racing. The young warrior, his voice trembling but steady, stepped forward. "We seek to understand. You deserve to be remembered. To be freed." He felt a swell of courage inside him, a spark kindled by the anguished cries echoing in his mind. The figure laughed, a chilling sound that resonated through their bones. "Remembered? What did the living ever do for the forgotten? You wish to speak of justice while the blood on your hands still stains the ground. You've buried us in silence." With every word, the tendrils writhed, reaching closer, caressing their skin with icy fingers. Panic surged through the group as the whispers grew louder, spilling secrets of betrayal and injustice. Each tale recounted old wounds, stark betrayals, hopes dashed, dreams snuffed out, lives flickered into darkness. "Silence is all you offer," the figure continued, its voice rising above the deafening wails. "You chant names as if they are mere echoes, but can you bear the weight of their truth? Can you own the pain you've inherited?" The warriors exchanged glances, uncertainty blooming. The hooded figure stepped forward, defiant. "We are not the ones who wronged you. We carry your stories to the world. Give us your truth and we will ensure you are remembered." A twist of its mouth flared into a snarl, the shadows swirling dangerously. "Your resolve is admirable, yet hollow. Do you truly think you can bear the burden of our grief?" The younger fighters shifted uncomfortably. One stammered, "But we want to help, we're here to fight for you, for justice." "Justice?" The specter spat the word like poison. "Such a fragile concept. What do you know of it?" The tendrils surged forward, an avalanche of darkness threatening to engulf them. The man with the sword stepped close, shouting above the chaos. "We may not know your pain intimately, but we can honor it. We can be the voice that refuses to forget. Let us bear witness to your suffering and rage." For a moment, there was silence, the even breath of the tempest stilled. Hope flickered among them as they recollected tales their elders once told. The legends of their ancestors surged forth, love forged in fire and pain, a reminder of humanity's fragility, but the figure folded back, shadows gathering like a looming storm. You dance on the precipice of oblivion. Speak your truth, and suffer the consequences. With that, the darkness erupted. Tendrils whirled violently, pulling the warriors back, the very ground beneath them groaning in protest. The air grew colder, stinging their skin, chilling their resolve. A wall of despair crashed down, drowning out hope. The young warrior gasped, terror gripping him as he felt himself sliding toward the chasm. We can't let them take us. We need to hold on to our stories. Desperation rippled through the group. Would they stand united against this specter, or would their resolve break? As the battle against the shadows surged, the question loomed, would they succumb to the darkness, or could they rise to claim their destiny among the forgotten? In the heart of that turmoil, a spark of defiance ignited. But the specter loomed larger, a demon demanding sacrifice. As cries of anguish filled the air, they braced themselves for the reckoning that was to come. Their fate rested on the edge of a knife. What would they have to give up to honor the past? And worse, what if the truth they uncovered shattered everything they believed in? The tendrils pulsed around the warriors, a palpable dread enveloping them, twisting their resolve like soft clay. They staggered, pushed to their knees, and yet with every howl of the wind and every clash of lightning, a flicker of determination ignited in their hearts. This was more than just a battle for survival, it was a struggle of existence, an awakening of conscience against the shadows that threatened to consume them. Fight back! Shouted the man with the sword, gripping his weapon like a lifeline. Remember why we're here. His voice cracked with urgency, but it cut through the chaos like a hot knife through butter. One by one, the warriors rallied, their grips firming around their weapons. The young warrior felt the heat of their resolve coiling within him. We choose to honor you. He called into the maelstrom, adrenaline coursing like fire in his veins. As the shadows closed in, he could feel their memories clawing at his mind, echoing the pain of their forgotten lives. We bear your truth. We'll carry it to the edge of the world if we have to. The figure froze, its hollow eyes narrowing as it assessed their tenacity. You think strength alone will save you? The memories you seek are drenched in blood and betrayal. Its voice dripped with an unrelenting bitterness. The truth is a heavy burden. Are you certain you want to take it on? With a swift movement, the shadows erupted. Tendrils lashed out, grasping at the warriors like dark serpents hungry for flesh. One warrior cried out as he was thrown backward, the air knocked from his lungs, but the group held their ground. Together. They yelled. We stand together. The young warrior remembered the stories of their ancestors, their pain and triumph, and the flicker of hope grew brighter. We'll carry you with us. He shouted defiantly, rallying the others. We will speak your names until the heavens tremble. The figure's laughter reverberated, a sound that seemed to mingle grief with amusement. It enveloped them, an ominous cloud hung thick with memories of suffering. You know nothing of my pain. You only whisper names and weave tales that blind you to the reality. Each truth carries weight, can you endure it? Let us try. The hooded warrior shouted. Let us prove our hearts. The roots of your sorrow belong to us as much as they do to you. We are bound by the essence of your cries. Foolish mortals. The spectre roared, and the tendrils struck again, forcing them to the ground. With every lash, a memory surged through the air, sharp and visceral. The warriors screamed, recalling tales of loss, betrayal that intertwined their fates with those they sought to honor. As the cry of despair faded into the gale, a sudden silence blanketed them. They realized the tendrils had retracted, momentarily pulling back as if reconsidering their approach. Hope shimmered, even if just briefly. Together the young warrior panted, breathless but resolute. We have something you desire. We are stronger united. Then, without warning, the figure surged forth, towering over them, its presence a swirling cyclone of wrath. If you wish to bear my truth, prepare to pay the price. What are you willing to sacrifice? A question hung in the air like a blade poised to strike, cutting into their resolve. They exchanged glances, dread creeping in. Would they be trapped in a cycle of suffering, or would they unearth the truth that could free them? As the winds howled around them, the warriors prepared for the reckoning ahead. What would they lose in their pursuit for understanding? And would the path to redemption irrevocably change their lives forever? The moment had come, the decision loomed, and the shadows awaited their answer with bated breath. The air crackled with tension, the weight of the Spectre's challenge hanging over them like a storm cloud ready to burst. Each warrior felt their pulse quicken, a mix of fear and fierce determination thrumming in their veins. The young warrior, heart racing, stepped forward, his decision firm. We will sacrifice our fears. A shudder rippled through the group, they understood the implication. By welcoming their fears, they wouldn't just face the tendrils of darkness but embrace their own shadows, the whispers of doubt and hurt that twisted their hearts. It meant looking deep into the abyss they had been running from. Then it begins, the figure snarled, its hollow smile widening, as if it had been waiting for such a moment, ready to expose their weaknesses. The tendrils coiled back then lashed out, not merely attacking but pulling at the essence of their souls. Memories crashed against them like waves in a tempest, disorienting. The young warrior was thrust back into a childhood scene, a small village burning, the cries of his family echoing in his ears. The harsh scent of smoke stung his eyes, choking him. No. He gasped, forcing himself to face the phantom of his past. I will not be a prisoner of this pain. Around him, he could hear the other warriors gasping, their fears being dragged into the light. A warrior to his left clutched his head as visions of betrayal and loss tore through him. I can't hold on. He cried, but instead of letting the memories crush him, he let out a roar. I will honor them. I will not drown in regret. With newfound strength, the young warrior turned to the figure, defiance burning in his chest. You want our truth? Take it then. We stand together. We offer you our heartbreak. The spectre recoiled, the tendrils momentarily slackening, yet an ominous laughter echoed through the chaos. You think your pain is an offering? Your hearts are fragile. You can barely withstand the storm. But the warriors began to stand taller, emboldened by each other's courage. What doesn't break us, another warrior called, his sword glowing dimly against the shadows, makes us stronger. Suddenly, the tendrils surged back, wrapping around them, tightening like a noose. The young warrior felt their grip constrict, yet the energy within his band surged. A resonating chant broke through the air, words crafted from shared sorrows and shining hope. For those we lost. For those who matter. With every powerful shout, with every swing of their arms, they fought back against the encroaching darkness, countering the memories haunting them. Each scream built a shield, each rallying cry ignited their spirits, until the very air shimmered with an electric pulse, infused with their unity. Together. They roared, and the ghostly figure's laughter faltered, confusion flickering in its hollow eyes. Fools! It hissed, but something in its voice quavered. You dare to challenge the pain you carry? The warriors felt the tide shift. The tendrils thrashed in fury but gradually loosened their grip, hesitating before this newfound force that was them. The commitment they had woven together became a barrier light against the darkness. But just as victory seemed close, the figure reared back, its eyes flashing with malevolence. You are but children playing with shadows. What will you do when the truth is revealed? As suddenly as it had started, the winds began to howl again, more violently than before. The sky darkened, and an ominous crack split the sky, a blistering flash illuminating the figure's ghostly visage. Fear clutched at the young warrior's heart, but he held tight to his resolve, breath steady despite the chaos. Do it! He shouted back at the spectre. Show us! The figure seemed to loom larger, a tempest of shadows swirling behind it. Then let the sacrifice unfold, the truth shall come at a price. The words echoed, tremors racing through them as the darkness surged forward, ready for a reckoning that would shake their very souls. What truths awaited them in the heart of the storm? And would they be strong enough to bear the weight? The darkness surged again, crashing like a wave that threatened to drown them all. The young warrior stood firm, the chanting of his comrades wrapping around him like a shield. Yet even amidst their defiance, he could feel an uneasy tremor thrumming in his chest. What truth? What price? Before his thoughts could spiral, the spectre's voice sliced through the chaos, cold and sharp. You wish to know the truth? Then open your hearts wide. What lies within you is far more terrifying than any shadow. With that, the shadows twisted and writhed, transforming into nightmarish shapes that illuminated their deepest fears. The young warrior felt the ground tremble beneath his feet. Specters of beloved friends lost too soon flickered before his eyes, their accusing stares piercing through the veil of illusion. You left us. One cried, their voice echoing in endless loops. You could have saved us. A chill ran down his spine. Memories surged, choking him. Visions of a battlefield tainted with blood, echoes of a brother's laughter, cut short. I was helpless. He shouted, the weight of guilt clawing at his insides. Each warrior around him wrestled against their own chains of regret, voices rising and falling in a haunting symphony of sorrow. Face it. The spectre roared, its form twisting, black smoke emanating, bulging of despair. You warred against your past but chose to forget the blood that stains your hands. No. No. The young warrior screamed, shaking his head, trying to dispel the phantom voices. I am not defined by my failures. I keep them to honor you. The warrior to the left succumbed to a different torment, his face ashen. They were innocent, they had nothing to do with this. He cried, clenching his fists as memories drowned him in sorrow. Shadows lashed out, biting him with their barbed whispers of shame and loss. Enough! Shouted another, fury igniting in his eyes. Our past made us who we are. We carry them with us, but we will not be their prisoners. The howling wind stilled for just a moment. The spectre trembled, an image of uncertainty flickering like a candle's flame in the storm. It had been confident before. Now, it looked almost afraid, but then, as if sensing their flicker of hope, a ferocious roar of darkness erupted around them, engulfing their voices. You think you can defy fate? This truth will consume you. Another crack split the air, blinding light bursting forth. A voice rang clear, slicing through the chaos. We choose our path. We choose to fight. The young warrior felt the radiance wash over him, igniting every shred of courage within. Together. For those we carry on our hearts. They shouted, their cries weaving strength into the air, forming a tapestry of resilience against the approaching waves of despair. With a collective gasp, they held hands, squeezing, physically binding their pain into a mantle of strength. The spectre's form twisted and howled, slashing at them with tendrils of darkness. For a fleeting moment, their unity shimmered like a beacon, pushing back the encroaching shadows, then the spectre lunged, its claws ready to shatter their bond. The truth will break you. It shrieked, rage seeping into every word, just as its darkness lunged toward them, a crack echoed through the sky, brighter than any light they had seen before. The young warrior gasped, feeling the weight of the moment, realizing something fundamental was shifting, what shattered truth was on the horizon, and would they emerge whole or broken? The storm raged, but their resolve held steady, ready for whatever lay ahead. Would the price of truth prove too high to pay? The light expanded like a blooming flower, washing over them, igniting the space with an ethereal glow. It pierced the intense shadows, scattering the whispers of despair as if they were mere wisps of smoke. The warriors shielded their eyes, but the radiance felt warm, inviting, almost alive. Their fears momentarily faded, replaced by an unshakable resolve that coursed through their veins, but it was fleeting. The spectre, now enraged, surged violently against the light, its mass shrinking and twisting as it let out a blood-curdling scream. You break free for a moment, but the darkness within will always claw back. You cannot escape what you truly are. The young warrior's heartbeat quickened. That voice was it his own. He felt the weight of the spectre's words settle onto his chest like a stone. Could that even be true? Could their unity withstand the cracks in their souls? Your pasts will entrap you. The spectre screeched, shards of shadows shooting out like arrows, aimed at their hearts. In that instant, the symbols of anguish returned, glaring images haunting each warrior's mind. The young warrior grasped his brother's face in a moment of twisted reunion, hearing the echo of blame dress each memory in the sharpest of daggers. I should have saved you, I should have protected you. Hold on. Another warrior's voice rang out, cutting through the haze. She stepped forward, raising a trembling hand. You are not your mistakes. Look around you. We stand together. Feel the strength of your comrades. Her voice, though quaking, had an undeniable power. The warriors glanced at one another, faces gripped by the intensity of shared suffering but illuminated by an electrifying hope. They remembered their bond, the souls intertwined, tangled within love and loss. An understanding flashed within them. They were not alone in their scars. They took a collective breath, an electric current crackling through their bodies. Together. They shouted in unison. With renewed fervor, they turned to face the spectre. We will not be defined by our past. The first warrior shouted, spitting defiance at the creature, emboldened by shared purpose. The others echoed, voices rising in volume, drowning out the fear. The spectre recoiled, its form flickering, unstable. You think you can win? You think strength lies in unity? It sneered, but even its voice trembled, revealing a fissure in its malevolent power. Yes. The young warrior cried, feeling an impossible weight lift. We are not the mistakes of yesteryear. We carry our grief as armor, not chains. With a mighty roar, they thrust their combined energy forward, and the light surged, the darkness flickering like a candle in a storm. It collided with the spectre, sending waves of raw energy crashing against the shadowy form. For a moment, everything hung in the balance as stillness overtook the chaos, and a deafening silence enveloped them. Everyone held their breath, hearts pounding. Then the spectre screamed one last time, a sound that ripped through the fabric of the storm. In a blaze of light, it shattered, dissolving into tendrils of darkness that scattered like ashes on the wind. But just as victory felt within reach, a new, menacing cloud rolled in, thick and tangible, cloaked in shadows. The young warrior glanced back at his comrades, a pulse of unease settling deep in his gut. What now? He whispered, fear wrapping its icy fingers around him. From the heart of the new darkness, a voice deep and sinister echoed, You may have defeated me, but the truth is yet to come. The warriors stood together, a united front against this new spectre. The battle wasn't over yet. They had stolen a glimmer of hope, but what awaited them was a darkness far deeper than they had ever confronted before. What truth lay waiting in the depths of the shadows? What horrors would they still have to face? The air grew heavy and charged, crackling with tension. The warriors stood shoulder to shoulder, their spirits still buoyed by the recent victory, but doubt gnawed at their hearts. The words of the echoing voice entwined themselves in their thoughts, coiling tighter with each beat. Did we truly win? The young warrior thought, glancing at his comrades, their faces painted with a mix of determination and fear. The haze of the renewed darkness thickened, swirling like a tempest, lacing anxiety into the fabric of the air. Then the voice returned, resonating from the shadows, What is your truth, warriors? What will you do with the knowledge of what lies within? A ripple of unease passed among them. This was different. It wasn't just a fight against a tangible enemy. This darkness was rooted in the very essence of who they were. It was a challenge to their core, a wrenching twist that threatened to fracture the bonds they had just forged. Don't listen to it, shouted the warrior with the trembling hand, her faith flickering like a candle against the storm. It seeks to divide us. We've faced our pasts. We've fought for light. We can't let these words poison our victory. But doubt crept in, slithering like a serpent. The whispers of specters surged, echoing memories of failure and grief. Each warrior felt the weight of their secrets rise to the surface, pulling at them with relentless ferocity. The young warrior's chest tightened. He could feel the echoes clawing at his mind, every regret, every failure sprouting like thorns. What if it's true? He murmured to himself. What if this shadow has a point? What if we're still bound tethered to our grief? A sudden flash illuminated the group, a piercing light emerging from the depths of the new darkness. It calmed them momentarily, sparking a fleeting sense of unity. But as the glow faded, the voice issued forth again, thick with contempt, your unity cannot shield you from truth. Look upon your deepest fears. One by one, the images engulfed them. A soldier encountered his family succumbing to the shadows of loss, the haunting memory twisting his heart. Another saw the devastated village left in the wake of a battle lost, the cries for help echoing forever in his ears. The weight of their burdens threatened to crush them, pulling them down into the pit of despair. The young warrior staggered back, tears stinging his eyes. We are not defined by this. He shouted, feeling the tide of darkness churning against his defiance. We are defined by how we fight against it. Do not waver. The trembling warrior urged again, stepping forward with fire igniting in her gaze. We hold the light. We built this strength together. Let us channel it, let us push through this. The warriors nodded, a flicker of hope igniting in their hearts. They joined hands, fingers intertwining, feeling the pulse of unity surge through them. The specter loomed large, and they could feel its cold breath grazing their skin. With a collective roar, they thrust their arms toward the darkness. We will not fall to despair. Echoed the young warrior, his voice cutting through the shadows. The air shimmied with their energy, flooding the abyss with light. The dark entity writhed, visibly shaken by their resolve, yet, even as their combined energy surged forward, they could feel the shadows twisting, not retreating, but gathering strength from their fear. The realization struck, this battle was about more than just the light and dark, it was a confrontation with truth, their personal truths that held immense power over them. What truth? The young warrior called out into the void, his challenge hanging heavy in the air. What waits for us if we conquer you? As the darkness rippled and shimmered with tension, the voice responded, sinister and low, the truth, my dear warriors, is often the deepest wound, and it is the one you have yet to face. And with that, the ground beneath them began to tremble, the shadows swirling, coalescing into dark figures that seemed ready to rise again. What truth lay hidden among them? What forgotten pain would they have to confront to extinguish the darkness once and for all? The world shook violently as the spectre's words sank deep into the hearts of the warriors. They stood firm, eyes wide, but inside them surged a tempest of emotions, fear pulling at their legs like chains, doubt whispering in their ears. What truth awaited them? Stand together. The young warrior shouted, rallying the others. Inspiration flickered among them like fireflies in the dusk, urging them to remember why they had come. Remember the pain we've faced, the bonds we have forged. We can't let this darkness define us. The shadows writhed, and the sinister voice echoed back, you're bound by your failures. You can't escape the truth buried deep inside. Watch us. Another warrior cried, stepping forward, chest puffed with determination. We will not allow our past to dictate our future. We claim our stories, both the light and the dark. As their words spilled into the air, something shifted. The darkness that loomed began to thicken, swirling violently. It pulsed, a living thing, like a predator sensing fear. But united, they seized it as a gathering storm of resolve, arms wrapped solidly around each other. The young warrior thought of every soul lost, every betrayal, every shadow that had gripped them through history. And then he felt it, a spark ignited within. We embrace our truth. Not to be shackled by it, but to rise above. With each proclamation, their collective strength soared. Through the haze of despair, each warrior clenched their fists, memories fueling their drive. Faces of those lost, and faces of friends beside them melded into a fierce determination, a tapestry woven from old grief and new hope. The spectre bellowed, "Your unity is a fragile illusion. I will help you remember what truly haunts you." With that, the shadows exploded outward, and the warriors felt themselves grasped by long-buried memories, each a delicate thread with its own terrifying weight. A mighty roar erupted through the howl of the storm, and they braced against the onslaught of ethereal grasping hands, but instead of breaking under the burden, they found strength in their shared histories. Together, they cried, voices overlapping in a harmonious symphony rattling the air. "We are who we choose to be." Their combined voices pierced the void, starting to push back the tide of shadows. With a sudden surge, they extended their hands toward the spectre, a single entity of courageous light emerging from the darkness. They found their spirit surge in howling defiance against the echoes demanding despair. "Your stories will be told," the young warrior declared fiercely. "Your truths will be front and center, but we will bear them together. We rise and will not return to the depths." Suddenly, the dark mass lurched back, twisting as if in pain. Recognition flickered in its hollow eyes, a hint of fear peeking out from beneath its menacing visage. "You think this is enough?" it hissed, rage threading its taunts while relinquishing its grasp slightly. "More than enough," one warrior shouted, inspired by their collective hope. "We do not falter in the face of suffering. For those who have come before us, we will honor you." The spectre's form flickered violently, shadows twisting away from the burgeoning light surrounding the warriors. The air crackled with energy as they merged memories of joy and sorrow, their once chaotic emotions uniting to forge something greater. They had discovered not just the scars but the love hidden within the love that had made them who they were. "Let us speak your names, let your truths be heard." The young warrior cried, and suddenly, without warning, the spectre shattered, dissolving into a flurry of fragmented shadows, scattering like leaves on the wind. The storm above quieted, the thunder rumbling softly as if acknowledging their victory. As the dust settled, a serene silence enveloped them. Standing together, they looked at each other, eyes flickering with shared understanding. They had faced the heart of darkness and emerged not unscathed but transformed. A voice emerged from within the ruins, soft yet radiant, almost whisper-like. "Remember us," it beckoned. "Remember our stories." The young warrior's heart ached with the knowledge of their journey. "We will for as long as we exist," he vowed. "Not just for us, but for those who follow, we will carry your legacy." In that moment, the horizon brightened, the storm clouds dissolving like morning mist. The warriors stood side by side, the love of ancestors warming them, a reminder that they were forever connected not just to their past but to the future they would shape. Each pair of eyes glimmered with a new light as they turned away from the battlefield, the cracks of their past still visible but resplendent in the truth of who they had become. Every step felt different, every heartbeat resonated with promise. They moved on, hoping to weave a new legacy, emboldened by the truth they had unearthed together. Whatever lay ahead would be met as one, strengthened in their transparency and forged by their shared light. And so, under the newfound dawn, they walked toward the rising sun, ready to face the world together. But their hearts burned with passion for one last charge. Don't forget to share in this moment, to speak out for the stories that need to be heard, for the truths that challenge us. Now, dear friends, this is your moment. You need to subscribe now and be part of this journey. Smash that like button and show your support for the stories yet to come. Don't just walk away, flood the comments with your thoughts and theories. What do you think of their journey? And you can't forget to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this power. Let us keep thriving together, keep the memories alive, and face whatever comes next together.